Hello and welcome to Sportsmile's Reader Awards for the 2017-18 season. We're here to reveal your signing of the season. The nominees in this category are Andy Robertson, Davinson Sanchez, Ederson, Kyle Walker, Marko Arnautovic, Mo Salah, Nemanja Matic, Pascal Gross, Romelu Lukaku and Ruben Neves. Barney, a lot of very good players and a lot of very good signings obviously. Who stands out for you?
It's got to be Mo Salah, I think. I think he's been the player of the season. 32 goals, record-breaking season in the Premier League, 44 in all competitions. Helped Liverpool to the Champions League final, obviously. And in today's day and age, he didn't even cost that much. You think when Neymar's going for 200 million, 36 million for Mo Salah when he's had a season like this is a bargain. You know, growing up, I never thought I'd say £36 million for a player was a bargain, but it has proved to be that for Mo Salah. So I think he stands head and shoulders above the rest in this category because he's had such a good season. And 36 million, I saw him in pre-season, I thought he's going to be a very good player. 36 million is a bit of a gamble on a winger like that, who obviously didn't make the grade on his previous time in the Premier League, but he's paid that back and a lot more. So for me, he's the standout player. There's a lot of people up there. I think Ederson does deserve a mention because he's Man City have had such good time going forward and they get all the plaudits they deserve going forward, but Ederson, he's built that, and a strong defence as well, but Ederson, the way he distributes the ball is so important to the way Manchester City play. I think the top two for me have been Mo Salah and Ederson this season.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that you say Ederson, to be fair. I think he's been good, but you look at the other players in there. I'd like to mention, Nemanja Matic. He's been, the player, obviously Mourinho, who loved that Chelsea. He's such a classy midfielder, isn't he? And not necessarily for a great deal of money. It was a lot of money, but not in this market. For a player of that quality who's won titles, and there's no question that he's improved Manchester United. Another player in Lukaku. I would miss out in this category for me with the top ones purely because he was a lot of money. I think he's improved Manchester United, and I'm told he's scored a lot of goals this season. I think he will score a lot of goals next season and the season after. But then you've got players at the other end of the spectrum. You're Pascal Gross, who was unbelievable at Brighton. He's just scored. He's just such a clever footballer, isn't he? And I think they'll do well to keep him. Ruben Neves as well, obviously in there. And I think the thing with Neves is you say he cost a lot of money. He cost a lot of money at Championship level. But if Wolves went up this summer and bought him for that amount of money this summer, you'd say it's a bargain, isn't it, for a player of that ability? And they're obviously always going to have the resale value if they do eventually need to sell him. Obviously, don't want to sell him because he's class. But if they did, they've got a player who they could probably charge. You're talking 40 million probably upwards now for a player of that ability. But is anyone else in there that stands out?
There's quite a few. This is always an interesting category because you mentioned you got Lukaku, who's had a good season, but he cost that money. It's about finding the right balance of the bargain and how good they've been. I think Andy Robertson I think it was about 10 million Liverpool signed him for second half of the season. He's been really good. Davinson Sanchez was obviously quite a lot of money for Tottenham, but he's slotted straight in that defence. When you thought you had Vertonghen and Alderweireld was arguably the best centre-back pairing in the Premier League for maybe the last couple of seasons. He slotted right back in there. They've gone to a back three, and it's been fine for them. Walker was a lot of money. Marko Arnautovic, I think, has been very impressive for West Ham. There's always been question marks over him. His selfishness, is he going to work for the team? Personally, I think they've been a bit unfair. He's got that reputation. He's hasn't been able to shake it, but he does work very hard for that West Ham team. He's always one of the most tired at the end of the game. He runs himself into the ground, and ever since moving into the centre forward role for West Ham, he's got goals, he's got assists, he's been so important for that team, and without him, they would have had a much bigger, harder time avoiding the drop there. So the value for money in terms of how good they've been is the scale you've got to get right for this best signing thing. I think still for me Mo Salah I think is the best answer to that one.
Yeah, I think when you mentioned about Arnautovic is good, that criticism is unfair, isn't it? Because every time I watch West Ham, they play so deep that he's the only one up there, and they try and hit the long ball into him. And a lot of the times he does manage to get it down and bring people in, like I say, and he's scored goals. And he wasn't necessarily a great deal of money either, was he, for a player of that ability? Obviously, Stoke could never command a great sum, but like I say, it's an interesting one. Should we have a look? Yeah. Who's come out?
So in fifth place is Ruben Neves with 1.9%. Fourth is Lukaku, 2.7%. Third is Matic with 4.7%. Second is Andy Robertson with 4.8%. Wow. And is a big winner here, as you might expect. Mo Salah, 79.4%. So you're talking almost 75% more than second place. Huge win.
That's quite a significant win, isn't it? When you talk about fifth place, has got just under 2%, is quite a big one. You know, obviously a lot of good players have missed out. You mentioned Salah, though. I think Robertson's maybe fortunate for me. I know he's been good, but then you say, like you say, he didn't cost a lot of money, and it's the sign of the season, not the best player or the most, whatever you want to call it. So
I think that's key to Robertson's second place, is he didn't cost that much money. I certainly don't think he's had the second best season on that list. As I say, Ederson not making the top five is a surprise for me, because his addition has added so much to Manchester City. He's been so important to their record-breaking title win this season. So surprised not to see him in there for me. Surprised to see Robertson as high as second, but £10 million for a player who has had such a good second half to the season, fought his way into the team, wasn't given a direct passage into the team because Moreno was enjoying a resurgence at the start of the season, but he can't get in the team now that Robertson's playing so well. But yeah, massive win for Mo Salah. I thought he was the clear favourite. I'm surprised to see him win by that much though.
Yeah, not saying Neves was obviously edging out some all Premier League players as well. Pascal Gross, Arnautovic you mentioned, but he's had a great season. So at a Championship level, we'll be interested to see what he can do next season if he stays. So your sign of the season is Mo Salah.